it comes to trading of commercial goods, there is always a certain level of risk and trust involved. Whether you are a buyer or seller, you are bound to be exposed to some risk when dealing with international transactions. In large part, the amount of risk involved highly depends on the method of payment you use. For instance, in the case of delivery of goods without prepayment, the seller may not receive the payment. Whereas, in the case of delivery in advance, the buyer may not receive the goods. In order to balance the mutual interest in trade, an appropriate payment method must be chosen carefully to minimize the payment risk, while also accommodating the needs of both parties. There are plenty of international paying methods across the globe. The international payments market has been structured to offer tools and solutions to meet the continent's needs of a seller and a buyer. In particular, all the methods of payment can perform, at most, 3 functions: settlement, risk mitigation, and financing. Generally speaking, the methods of payment include remittance, collection, and letter of credit. First, let's take a look at remittance. Remittance is a money exchange using a transfer. One party will send funds to another individual or entity, typically using electronic transfer or wire submission. Transactions of this kind are often done internationally and can be completed almost immediately. In remittance, the bank only provides service but not credit. Therefore, it belongs to commercial credit, which is less secure than a banker's credit, and hence, in using this method, the parties involved must have trust in each other. Remittance is mainly used for payment in advance, cash with order, cash on delivery, open account trade, down payment, installment, and commission payment. It could be done by MT, TT, or DD, that are mail transfer, telegraphic transfer, and demand transfer. Under MT or DD, the bank issues a payment order to the payee via the beneficiary bank, or sends a demand draft directed to the payee. TT is more frequently used in international trade. A telegraphic transfer is an umbrella term used to describe an electronic transfer of money from the bank account to another. Funds sent between institutions are transferred through the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, SWIFT for short, for international transfers. The system facilitates cross-border transfers between banks by introducing uniform standards. Due to this innovation, banks began to process transfers much faster and without mistakes. SWIFT payments stand for international wire transfers made using this particular system. Sometimes the terms SWIFT transfer and telegraphic transfer are interchangeable. When funds are not required immediately or where bills are not sufficiently attractive to a banker for negotiation, they may be handed by an exporter to his bank for collection. The exporter asks his bank to arrange for the acceptance or payment of the bill overseas, and the bank will carry out his task through its own branch office abroad or a corresponding bank. In collection, the bank only provides service but not credit. Same as remittance, collection belongs to commercial credit. Depending on the type of document involved, there are 2 categories of collection: clean collection and documentary collection. Clean collections are collections of financial documents, promissory notes, checks, payment slips, etc., without attached commercial documents, invoices, and shipping and insurance documents. Documentary collection are collections of financial documents, which may have attached commercial documents, or collections of commercial documents without financial documents. Documentary collection is so called because the exporter receives payment from the importer in exchange for the shipping documents. Shipping documents are required for the buyer to clear the goods through customs and take delivery. They include and are not limited to commercial invoice, certificate of origin, insurance certificate, packing list, etc. A key document in a documentary collection is a bill of exchange or draft, which is a formal demand for payment from the exporter to the importer. Documentary collection is less common than other forms of trade finance, such as letter of credit and advance payment. It is less expensive than some methods, but also somewhat riskier, so it's generally limited to transactions between parties who have developed trust or are located in countries with strong legal systems and contract enforcement. Documentary collection fall into two basic categories, depending on when the payment is made to the exporter: documents against payment, DP, and documents against acceptance, DA. Documents against payment require the importer to pay the face amount of the draft at the site. In other words, the payment must be made to the bank when the buyer is presented with the draft and before any shipping documents are released. This is the most common form of documentary collection because of their reduced risk for the seller. This table shows an overview of a DP collection. A site draft reduces the exporter's risk because the buyer's bank will not release the documents without payment from the buyer. But neither side's bank assumes any financial responsibility in a documentary collection transaction. And this chart illustrates a step-by-step process with a DP collection. The exporter ships the goods and then gives the documents to his bank, which will forward the documents to the importer's collecting bank. Along with instruction on how to collect the money from the importer, in this arrangement, the collecting bank releases the documents to the importer only on payment for the goods. Once payment is received, the collecting bank transmits the funds to the remitting bank for payment to the exporter. Documents against acceptance require the importer to pay on a specified date. Once the buyer accepts the time draft, the bank releases the documents to the buyer. As this chart shows, the main difference between the process of DP and DA lies here, the fifth step. With the DA collection, the exporter extends credit to the importer by using a time draft. The documents are released to the importer to claim the goods upon his signed acceptance of the time draft. By accepting the draft, the importer becomes legally obliged to pay at a specific date. At maturity, the collecting bank contacts the importer for payment. Besides remittance and collection, there is a more important and complicated payment mode, that is, letter of credit. We will discuss about it next time. See you then.